3, 2, 1, and you are live.
Hello, everybody. Good morning and welcome to the United Stand. This is your latest Manchester United transfer news. And are we going to have another busy day like yesterday? MALACIA, DEJONG, we'll have updates on that. But more interestingly, I think this morning, we've got updates in relation to Ajax and a sensational £100 million. I don't know whether to call it a bid or deal or whatever you want to call it, but Manchester United seriously now making moves for ANTONY and Lisandro Martinez. They have to make serious moves for Lisandro Martinez because Arsenal are all over that deal. We'll also be talking about Tielemans, a fantastic little bit of insight into the coaching that's going on at Manchester United with Eric10g at the moment as well. So lots to get into. Make sure you get in the comments. Thanks everyone who's getting involved. Back in the office, yes, we are. Yeah, not in the car today, so that's good. Look, first of all, let me just hit it. Topical news show, so let's bring you the news. I want to talk about this Ajax story, but let's just say this. MALACIA could be done deal at any time. Samuel Lucas this morning saying that a deals in principle have been done for Frenkie de Jong and MALACIA, £56 million for de Jong and £13 million for MALACIA would take our spending to just under £70 million for two players, which isn't particularly bad. And yeah, I think that they will not be holding. I think they'll hold up the shirts together next week. I think they'll be holding up the shirts next week at Carrington and Old Trafford, maybe Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday next week. Not every day, that'd be stupid, but they will be holding up the shirts next week. But we will get deals done. We will get deal done, whether it's Ornstein or Romano. I think it could happen while we're live today. Stone, thank you very much for joining the members club. Got a fantastic members video coming up for you tomorrow, actually, in relation to Lisandro Martinez, looking at him in detail, comparing him to Maguire, Timber and Varane. Thanks for joining. And yeah, so I do think that deal done's going to come in any time. Martinez will be a backup centre-back. He's too short, says Nazib. I want to talk about Martinez in a little bit more depth in a minute. But one thing I just want to talk about before we talk about this Ajax offer is that I'm not going to. I was happy yesterday and I'll be happy today, but I'm not going to be stupid. I think there are some United fans who literally 24 hours ago was saying, get rid of Murta, he's crap. Arnold's a crap CEO. Glazer's out. We signed two players and they're not even officially signed yet. And people are like, Murta's like a boss. Yeah, we're back. We're back. And I'm like, for fuck's sake, what is wrong with our fan base? Why do you have to go from one extreme to the other? I'm happy with de Jong. I'm happy with MALACIA. But I can still see a transfer window where we spend less than £120 million net. We don't get a central midfielder. And everyone's going, it's a good summer. You've got to look at like one thing I would say. Jacob says, morning from Cropple Bishop. Love the content. I hope to see you back at the City Ground one day. Hey, Mark, not related, but have Kevin J taken a break from the United Stand because I miss seeing them. James, if you actually tuned in, you would know about not asking stupid questions on a morning transfer show. The forum is back in a couple of weeks when games are back, as we've said 4 or 5 times. Is Timber deal dead, says David? I will talk about that. But I just want to say this. I've heard people, somebody said it yesterday. Oh, de Jong for 56 million when Man City are spending 100 million on Grealish. Murta like a boss. What a great deal. I'm like, hold on a minute. Have you just unscrewed your head and thrown it in the bin? Or did you never have a brain? Like, we've got a good deal out of Barcelona and de Jong, but you can't compare it to bloody Man City spending £100 million on Grealish. Villa did not want to sell Grealish, did not need to sell Grealish, did not want to sell Grealish, basically said they wouldn't sell him for less than £100 million. Man City wanted him and went and got him because it's what the manager wanted, even though they overpaid. I would actually say what Man City did with Grealish is better than what we've done with de Jong, because Man City just basically went, don't care about the money. You want that player, we'll get you that player. Manchester United, but spent 2 months working on a deal to spend 56 million. That's great. That's great. But we would have walked away if it had been 80 million. So, everyone's saying, oh, what a great bit of business it is. You sound like a bloody Glazer fanboy. Like, we've got a good deal out of this, and it is a good deal because Barcelona are desperate to sell. Villa were not desperate to sell. So, yes, it is a good deal, but I'm not championing a good deal. All it does is benefit the Glazers in their pocket so they can take 11 million out. I think people misunderstand it. The only positive about getting de Jong cheap is that it means we've got more money to spend in the summer on a restricted budget. No fan, no Man City fan, no Chelsea fan sits there and goes, yes, we've got Haaland for half the price. They don't care because they know they'll go and buy the players they want. The only reason, and I admit this to myself, The only reason we get excited about getting someone cheap is because we know we've got a shit budget and we can get more out of it. And that's basically what it's all about. So I'm not going to sit here championing Murta and Arnold and the Glazers for getting a player that Barcelona are desperate to sell on a reasonably good deal. Yeah, effectively, I will champion Murta and Arnold if we go and get another midfielder, Antony, a centre-back, a right-back, obviously the left-back. You know, if we go and get everything we need, I'll go fair play. I'm still very suspicious that our transfer budget will be crap by the end of August. I'm still very suspicious that our net spend will be around £100 million. Way worse than Arsenal, Spurs, Chelsea and everyone else. So, you know, excuse me if I don't get too excited because we've got a couple of players on the cheap. There's a long way to go yet, and they've still got to deliver. The only valid reaction to the Frankie de Jong and MALACIA announcements is great signings. What's next, says Moviad. Yeah, I agree with that. I do agree with that. Anyway, let's talk about what's next for a moment because I want to talk about Lisandro Martinez. So MALACIA, de Jong, anytime, deal done, good deals, exciting, brilliant. Let's move on. Next, Ajax, Manchester United. The centre-back situation is really weird. So effectively, Manchester United are going to go to Ajax and offer a fee for two players, Antony and Lisandro Martinez, logically. Now, £100 million is being mentioned in the arena of football journalism and news at the moment, and I'm pretty sure it'll hit the headlines at some point, as I said about Antony a few weeks ago. It will hit the headlines. Man United are not going to negotiate separately for two players. It's a waste of time. So they're going to go for Antony and they're going to go for a centre-back, probably Martinez. £100 million is probably what the value of this deal is going to be. Doesn't mean we're going to spend 100 million. You might spend 45 on Antony with add-ons, taking it up to 60. You might spend an outright 40 on Lisandro Martinez or 35 with add-ons, but effectively 100 million value of the bid with the add-ons. So that is for Manchester United to resolve. Now, one thing I completely forgotten is that Antony's actually injured at the moment. So it gives United a little bit of, and United love this, a bit of breathing space, a bit of negotiation time. And with Antony, he's desperate to leave Ajax. He wants to come to Manchester United. So Antony to me, logically may not happen that quickly. But the good thing is that with Lisandro Martinez, it has to happen quickly. Arsenal are wounded, having lost out on Rafinha, and they don't want to lose out on Lisandro Martinez. And they've got the money. They have got the money to go and get this deal done. So it sort of makes it difficult for United, because if Arsenal decide they're just going to overpay, Ajax at the end of the day will take the money. So Manchester United are in a bit of a difficult situation with our Arsenal and Lisandro Martinez, but it will force us to act quickly. Like Arsenal want to act quickly. Ten Hag has gone back to Manchester United and basically said he wants these deals done quick. And there's a real opportunity that by the middle of July, our transfer business could be done. We really could have the centre-back on top of MALACIA and de Jong, Antony, Eriksen. And I think that's the end of our window, to be honest. So look, yeah, that's where we're at. Would you like us all to write strongly worded letter, says Joshua Powerwater. With respect to MALACIA and Martinez, Man United were waiting for other clubs to bid so they wouldn't be burnt by the valuations quoted if they went first, says Shahan. I mean, I totally disagree with you on that, Shahan. I don't think that's how a proper football club works, to be honest with you, because what if the player decides that they want to go to that club and, you know, they've got some morals that they're going to stay with that club? It's a massive risk, and it's not what Manchester United do. But I like the theory behind it. Just on Martinez, I think it would be wrong of me not to say this. You know, I think with Martinez, Lisandro Martinez, there's a lot of people in our fan base. There'll be a lot of people in the chat. I wonder if he'll go for Sangari in January, says Lewis. There is a lot of people in the chat who love Lisandro Martinez, and there's a lot of people who love Lisandro Martinez. I'm never going to say what I think. And I do think he's a bit overhyped. I do think he's a bit of a hipster player. I don't think he's worth 40 million quid. And I don't think he will actually dislodge Maguire and Varane from the centre-back positions. I hope he does, but I can see him being the utility centre-back. I don't think if we buy him, he's starting the season. Even if and I think he'll go on tour if we sign him. But I don't. And I really, really want to be wrong. I really want to be wrong. But this isn't even Ten Hag's number one. Like, Ten Hag wanted Timber. So I think it's just a shame that Timber isn't the player that we got, because that's the player that Eric10g wanted. I do like Lisandro Martinez. He's very good, but I don't agree with everybody saying he's going to be like the next best centre-back in the world or anything like that. Nobody else is really looking at him. It's Arsenal versus Manchester United. There's no Juventus, there's no Bayern Munich, there's no Liverpool, there's no Man City, there's no Chelsea. It's Manchester United and Arsenal looking at Lisandro Martinez, who I believe is 24. So he's good, but I just think we're buying him to be a utility centre-back. I don't think we're buying him to start for Manchester United. And I hope I'm wrong, and that's what I think we needed to buy. But I'm not as excited about the Lisandro Martinez signing as some people are. And I hope I'm going to get proved wrong. But from what I've seen of him, I don't think he dislodges Varane and Maguire. And that's what needed to happen. And I hope I'm wrong on that. But most of all, I do want to say, I'm excited for everybody who's really excited about it. If it's what Eric10g wants, you've got to go and do it. All I'm saying is, in my own opinion, word of caution, I don't think he's worth the money that we're going to get, that we're going to be paying for him. It's not the sort of player I'd like to be in a bidding war with. I'd like to be picking him up for 30 million. I don't want to be spending 40 just because we're in a competition for Arsenal. And unfortunately, again, we talk about how great we are at negotiating. Let's not forget, Eric10g was Ajax manager. We could have got these deals done at the end of May, cheap. The only reason we're having to pay stupid prices is because Ajax don't want to sell any more players. And so they want big money for it. So, look, I'm very happy for everyone who wants Lisandro Martinez. I'm very happy if Eric10g gets him. And I really hope he comes into the team and proves me wrong and ends up being our starting centre-back. But I think he's being brought in I think he'll end up being a backup centre-back. And I'm a little bit worried that it's not the player that Eric10g actually wanted. Just joined, Mark. If we're doing a double sweep of 100 million for Antony and Martinez, what does that mean for our budget? Great question, Arman. I do want to talk about that. Hi, Mark. Wouldn't the thinking behind Martinez be that he would be considered the CDM signing, says Nick? Well, great question again, Nick. Mark, is Martinez an upgrade on Lindelof? I'd say he probably is an update. No, I don't. Wayne Rooney. I mean, look, I'm not saying... Look, I think Lisandro Martinez is a very good player. What I'm saying is, I think you're right. I think he's an upgrade on Lindelof, but I don't think he's definitely going to start. I don't think that. Eric wants to sign Tielemans, is everywhere in the news. Is it correct? Yeah, but Druv, the Tielemans story is what we spoke about yesterday with Beth. It's like, it's from the same journalist. It's not from anybody else. It's only coming from the Times. It's only coming from Paul Hurst. Everyone is regurgitating that story. So we'd have to wait. But I would like Tielemans. I said it in the car last night before I got attacked by a cat. Mark, if we get them deals done and can get rid of some players that is decent window, is Timber deal completely gone? I think he would be a better buy, says David. I'm not convinced the Timber deal's done. It probably is, but I'm not convinced that the Timber deal is done because... there's not been any official announcement in relation to that. So I'm not convinced it's done in relation to that we're not going to buy him. But, all I know about Timber is United had done a lot of work on it. They expected to get him. He went on international duty. He changed his mind or at least had second thoughts. And he's Eric10g's priority signing. Like, whatever happens, whoever we sign, whether it's Lisandro Martinez, Pau Torres or somebody else, Timber was the player that he wanted. I think United messed that up. And I don't know why, but I think they did. Morning, mate. Thoughts on reports coming out that Frankie de Jong doesn't want the move, says more Adam Kuza. Well, we know that. I'm not really that bothered about that. We know that. And Robert McCormack, I tell you what, when Robert puts a super chat in, it's going to be something forthright. Robert McCormack says, fans need to accept or not, Maguire and McTominay will be starting games next season. Eriksen would be a great signing, would run the show, says Robert. I agree with Robert on that. I think Maguire and McTominay will start games. I don't think we can remove ourselves from that. I think they both will start games, yeah. Do I want them to start games? No, but I think you're right, Robert. To be honest, Mark, what board can do about Timber for being a coward and maybe Martinez is second option and Ajax player of the season? Jay, spot on. If Timber doesn't want to come, you can't do anything about it. You just got to deal with it. But two things I wanted to go back to there. Somebody said, do we think we're buying Lisandro Martinez as a CDM? You know what? I would love Lisandro Martinez playing as a midfield. It wouldn't be a CDM. I would love to see Lisandro Martinez playing next to De Jong in a midfield too. I know it has happened before. Martinez can play a high line, unlike Maguire, says Maz. Yes. There's lots of reasons to be excited about Martinez. If you want to play a high line and you want a centre-back that can cover the flanks, then Martinez is brilliant for that. Can you play him in a midfield too? I actually would say anybody who's saying that we're buying Lisandro Martinez or trying to buy Lisandro Martinez to play in the midfield is wrong, because he's defensive-minded. You'd lose a lot of create attacking creativity with him. That's half a reason. You could justify the other half as to why we would play him there. But the biggest reason we're not going to play Lisandro Martinez in the midfield is because he wants a centre-back. So why buy a centre-back and play him in the midfield? You'd still need a centre-back. And people go, well, he can do both. Well, he can't. I can't play left wing and right wing in the same game. I can't play midfield and centre-back. Like, if we're spending £40 million on him, he's got to play. Is he going to be a midfielder or is he going to be a centre-back? If he's a midfielder, he can't play centre-back. If he's a centre-back, he can't play midfield. So we can't, what I'm trying to say is we can't solve two problems with one player. So I think, I have seen his passing ability. I think it's very good, but have you seen the way Ajax play football? Their midfield two push on, create and make things happen. I don't think that's really what Lisandro Martinez is all about. It's like saying Timber can play in the midfield. Yes, he can, but he's not DeJong, he's not a Van der Beek, he's not an Eriksen or anything like that. You need to be a creative player if you're going to play in the midfield too for the Ajax system. What you need is an all-rounder who's very good defensively. But look, we're arguing. I don't know what we're arguing over spilt milk. I don't put milk in my tea, so I'll lick it up. The reality is you can't buy Lisandro Martinez to solve your midfield problem and then say we can use him for both. You can't do that. You literally cannot have a player that plays midfield and centre-back. They're one or the other, and he needs both. Hi, Mark. Do you think Canacho could be an option this season, or would it be better to send him out on loan to develop, says Ivan Whelan? And it's been very interesting with the youth because Canacho, Mabry, and a few others, there's no point in them all staying. Some of them will be better off doing what Garner did last year, going on loan. But I wouldn't be surprised if he keeps one or two of them. I mean, if you bring Eriksen in, you've got Eriksen, you've got Rashford, you've got Sancho, hopefully Anthony, you've got Bruno, you've got Van der Beek, you've got a lot of attacking options. Where does Canacho and Mabry figure into that? We have got a lot of games. We have got Europa League games. So I think we can keep one of them. I think one of them might be better off going on a good loan like Garner did. And they'll get more out of that, to be honest. Yeah. Going back to that question that we had as well. Right, I'm just going to end this now because Sugan says he played an entire season as CDM for Ajax, the COVID curtailed season. Mate, you're not listening. You're not listening. I don't think we're buying him to play in the midfield. If we were buying him to play in the midfield, we're a centre-back short. You can't play Martinez in the midfield and at centre-back. Now, come back when your brain figures that one out. You literally cannot play one player in two positions. So if you're buying Martinez to play in your midfield, you still need to buy a centre-back. Oh, yeah, but he'd be utility. All right, then. Maguire's injured. Lindelof's injured. What are we doing? We're putting Martinez back to centre-back so that we can bring McTominay into the midfield. We're buying him to do one or the other. You can't. If we're buying him to do both, we're buying a bench player because we're buying a utility player. That's what I'm saying. And I think we're buying him to play at centre-back because I think we're going for Martinez because we can't get Timber. And we were going for Timber to play at centre-back. But we had loads of people saying, we're buying Timber to play at right-back. We were buying Timber to play at centre-back because if you follow Ajax and you follow Ten Hag, he likes to play centre-backs with a high line who can cover the flanks for his full-backs to go forward, which is why he wanted Timber. And it's probably why he wants Martinez because they are, whilst they're not tall, they're very mobile and they can play full-back. And basically, as a centre-back for Ajax, you almost do play as a full-back because you've got to cover the flanks, which is something I think Maguire's going to really struggle with. So I think Martinez would be used at centre-back. I just don't know. I'd just rather get Timber, if I'm honest. But, you know, I'm enthused by the excitement in the chat and it'd be interesting to see. I'm very relaxed. I just enjoy a debate in the morning. Robert McCormack, a debate. There's no M in front of it. Eriksen would be great because we haven't had a player that runs games in years. They would just give him the ball. Also set pieces. He's the master, says Robert. See, Robert, I don't know whether you're doing it to wind me up, but I've got to be honest. Christian Eriksen is crap at beating the first man from a corner. I don't know whether he's better now, but at Spurs, he was bloody awful at beating the first man from a corner. So let's not... I think what we've got to do with every signing we're going to make, we've got to be pragmatic. We can't make the mistakes of the last 9 years when we sign a player. Oh, Mert is a boss. Woodward's a boss. We've just bought a great player. Every player will have something that makes you go, And look, Eriksen's very welcome at this club, but I'm not going to pretend that, again, why don't Man City want him? Why don't Liverpool want him? Why don't Spurs want him? Why don't Chelsea want him? Why aren't Arsenal in for him? It's Brentford and Manchester United. Mark, is there any truth in yesterday's news about DeJong not wanting to leave Barca and nothing is confirmed as of yet, says Mohammed? Well, no, look, I don't get stressed about that. Frankie DeJong doesn't want to leave Barcelona. Breaking news! Slow Sports News. Frankie DeJong does not want to leave Barcelona. Oh, my God. I've spilt my crunchy nut cornflakes on the floor. I mean, we know he doesn't want to leave Barcelona. We know he doesn't want to leave Barcelona. I said this yesterday. I've had people on the phone to me over the years. She's cheated on me. She's left me. I'm distraught. Horrible conversation to have. She has. She doesn't love you anymore. She doesn't want you. You've got to leave. I don't want to leave, but she's sent a very strong message to you. And he. Sometimes it's a he. But the reality is, men can cheat as well. But the reality is, but he doesn't want to leave Barcelona. Of course he doesn't want to leave Barcelona. But he's leaving Barcelona and he's got to get his head around it. It's like yesterday, somebody said, oh, yeah, it's a great deal. It's a great deal. I can't remember what journalist it was. It was in the Mirror. It's a great deal for Manchester United. They're getting him for 56 million and they're giving him 250 grand a week. And I laughed. I was like, yeah. So a player that's desperate to stay at Barcelona has now decided he's going to take £100,000 a week pay cut to come to a club he doesn't really want to join. Yeah. That wage is over 300 grand a week. I don't know where they're pulling this 250 grand a week out of. Probably their arse, but it's over 300 grand a week. We've had to pay big to persuade him, but he's not the first player that's been persuaded to come to a club or leave a club that he doesn't want to leave. Do you think it was the plan to let another club get the price for MALACIA set and then go in with our own bid or look? No, Aram, I don't. I think it was just timing. I think it's a massive risk. You can't sit there and say, let's try it with Lisandro Martinez. So imagine Arsenal agree a fee of £40 million for Lisandro Martinez with Ajax, and then United run in and go, there's 40 million. Do you want to come to us? It's a terrible tactic. Unless you know that player is telling you privately that they want to go to you and they're just going to let it run through, which is a horrible thing for MALACIA to do to Lyon. So I don't think that's happened. I think United basically got the DeJong deal done. MALACIA and Lyon haven't got that finalised and we swooped in. It's all about timing. I don't think you can plan that. Heartwarming to see early vids of United training yesterday. Staff telling players to play soft passes and high tempo. It's very early, but good to see a manager hitting the ground running, says Shawnock. Any news on more out, says Kevin? Not at the moment. If we get DeJong, would that help Timber want to come? No way Van Gaal drops DeJong and that if United has a good season, says Dazzo. Well, remember, MALACIA is a Dutch international as well. So Van Gaal's going to end up dropping half his team here. Imagine we swap Elanga for Antony with a buyback clause. That way we save on Antony and we can look elsewhere for a centre-back, says Nazib. I think Nazib and a lot of you in the chat, thanks for the super chat, Boo-Boo. I think there's a lot of people have said this, and I think you're absolutely spot on. There is something we can do with Ajax around loans, whether it's Elanga, whether it's Mabry, whether it's Ahmad, whether it's Canacho. Like we've got some really good young players that we could say to Ajax, look, you can have them on loan for a year. And I've got no problem with any player going on loan to Ajax because the football they play will be very similar to Ten Hag's. And also, they will be playing in the Champions League. Now, I was told this 2 weeks ago, and I've not mentioned it before. We'll have to see if it comes to pass. But I was told 2 weeks ago, there's a very big chance that you'll see some United players going on loan to Ajax. Now, some might be one, it might be two. But the reality is it makes total sense. Now, you can't treat Ajax like a feeder club to Manchester United, and that's disrespectful. We're not going to do that. But if you wanted to send any player on loan for first-team football in preparation for being a future United player, where would you send them? Ajax. We've literally just taken their manager. Ajax play a very similar style of football through the years anyway, and we're going to be playing a very similar style of football to the way Ajax played. So if you can send an Ahmad on loan to Ajax for a season, he plays a bit of Champions League football, hopefully wins the Eredivisie, and plays in a system that's close to ours. When he comes back next year, if he has a good season, it's seamless to come into us. It makes a lot of sense for Manchester United to be saying to Ajax, we want to send some players on loan to you. Antony wants to come to us. Let's do a deal. Let's build this relationship. Let's keep the respect going. Whether that'll happen or not, I don't know. Going to Melbourne for the game against Victory, says Bradley. We'll see you there, mate. We are going to be there. And just make a signing, please, says Diraj. You won't have to wait long for that, Diraj. I suspect we'll be live again very soon with that. I haven't. Please smash a like on the video, by the way. Make sure you subscribe. Bottom right-hand corner. We've got 25,000 watching. Things are starting to happen with United. We're nearly only... Well, we're less than 2 weeks to our first game, actually. Week on Tuesday, isn't it, the first game? So it's all going on. Make sure you subscribe, bottom right-hand corner. Smash a like on the video. Thanks to everyone who's joined the Members Club. Got a great video going up for you tomorrow. But I do want to go back to what was asked a few minutes ago. What do you think the signing of DeJong and MALACIA does for our transfer budget? I think we're all now working off something that we can work out tangibly. I said this a few weeks ago. We're going to be able to figure out what our net spend is by the end of August. We'll add up all the signings, we'll take away the sales, and we'll be left with what the budget was. So if we spend £150 million on signings, but we sell £50 million worth of players, the budget for Ten Hag in his first summer was a ridiculously crap 100. 150 minus 50, 100. That budget needs to be 150, which to me means we should be spending at least 175, because I think we will sell players to the value of about 50. So if we spend 175, you take away 50 from sales, 125 million net spend. I think we have to spend around 175. So otherwise, what's the club doing? I mean, I don't know whether anybody saw this. Aston Villa have started their plans to rebuild Villa Park. Aston Villa haven't got the revenue that we have. United still haven't started rebuilding Old Trafford. So I don't buy any of this Glazer bullshit about backing managers and infrastructure or giving shares to fans, because it never seems to follow through and it takes ages. And, the Glazers will take a year to do something that could be done in a month, because another year of something is another year of revenue and everything for themselves. I'm worried we're making the same mistake as last year. Signing all these players seemed good, but once again, we're ignoring the most important role, DM, says Ralph. And Young doesn't to be here, fine, not for others, says International. Rafinha traitor for joining Chelsea, Kroenke out, says Zayn Miassi. And I think we should sign Timber in January and go ahead with our current centre-back, as risky as it may be, says Braden. We may end up doing that, Braden. I was thinking this morning what would happen with Timber. But let me just go back to that. So we've spent £56 million on De Jong. There will be add-ons, but the initial outlay will be, let's say it's 56 million of the budget. We're going to spend 13 million on MALACIA. So look, let's round it up to 70 million. 70 million spent on MALACIA and De Jong. 70 million spent. I believe we've got 150 to spend. So 70 minus 150 gives us 80 million pounds. 80 million pounds is not enough to get Antony and Lisandro Martinez, because that's 40 each. We need to get that budget up to 175, and we need to sell 50 million pounds worth of players, which I think is achievable. If the budget's 175 and we've spent 70, that gives us 105 million to go and get Antony and Lisandro Martinez, which is achievable. So I know that's probably a little bit concerning, but those quick maths are quite important. If we've spent 70 and our budget's 120, we've only got 50 left. If we've spent 70 and our budget's 120 plus sales, we've got 100 million left. 50 left of the budget, 50 from sales. So I think we've got about 100 million pounds left to spend. Hence, Antony and Martinez, 100 million bid. I think that's the rest of our budget. Eriksen's are free. I don't see us buying anybody else. I know Ten Hag would love to buy Dumfries from Inter as a right back if he can sell Wan-Bissaka. And I know we need another midfielder. But as I said yesterday, we're not looking at one. You can start to do the maths on Man United's transfer window now, which is why I've said De Jong, MALACIA, Lisandro Martinez or Timber, Antony, Eriksen. I think that's our summer done. Yeah, we need a right back. We definitely need another midfielder, but I just don't think the funds are there. Mark, I'm not sure if anyone told you, you are the best. Love your videos, says Sanderpan. Thank you very much. I'm not very popular with cats. Martinez is ours. Stop trying to nick our players. These players are deluded joining United, says Zayn Miassi. Everyone's nicking your players now, mate. You should not have put the trailer for All or Nothing out yesterday at 4 o'clock. At 3:59, Rafinha was playing Arsenal career mode next season. At 4:02, he turned it off and was begging Chelsea to sign him. All or Nothing. and you've ended up with nothing. Rayo Vallecano, 31st of July. I'll be there at Old Trafford, hoping to see our new players in action. In Eric10g, we trust, says Scott Manderson. I think it's going to be really interesting, actually. That's the weekend where we play 2 games, isn't it? We're playing on the Saturday and the Sunday. So we'll probably see 2 different teams playing, which is quite exciting, actually. Very close to the start of the new season. I may not be rating Martinez here, but it feels like Marcus Rojo type player. Are we linked to any right back? If not, Lamptey would be great. He's only 15 million, says Shawnick. You know what? I didn't want to mention Marcus Rojo, because I think the comparison between Rojo and Lisandro Martinez is shockingly unfair. Very different type of player. But yeah, I knew somebody would. Not very popular with animals or fruit, says Mackish. And write this down, Mark. Kit launch tomorrow, 100%, says Tom K. I've heard the kit launches tomorrow as well, Tom. Yeah, I've heard that. Lots of people are talking about that. Look, I'm not excited about the kit launch, so, you know, we'll see. Surely it's inconceivable that we won't get another striker unless Rashford and Antony are seen as strikers too. Can't just have Ronaldo next season. Well, remember, Martial's still here, Aram, as well. The reality is Man United don't have a backup striker option at the moment. They don't have one. I do just want to say as well, lots of people have been talking about these clips that are going around of Ten Hag's training. Am I excited? Yes. Do I like it? Yes. Is it really that big? No. This is why I wanted Eric Ten Hag. Solskjaer wasn't a coach. Just wasn't a coach. Eric Ten Hag is a coach. Pep Guardiola is a coach. These are coaches. They're managers, but they're coaches. They're on the training ground, taking the training. They are doing things midweek that they want to happen at the weekend in a match. They are orchestrating methodically, and this is what you get with Ten Hag. So as much as I like seeing the little clips of him saying up the tempo, pass, 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 it's nice to see. It's exciting to see. It's not surprising to see. Like Solskjaer would have just been stood there smiling at Kadeki. He wasn't a coach. We've now got a manager who's a coach. And to me, that is always preferable. Although, to be fair, Sir Alex didn't really do the coaching. He was a brilliant mastermind man manager. But I do like the idea of having a coach. I think these players are a disgrace last season and they need proper coaching. And effectively, these players can't be trusted. You can't give these players to a coach and then have a manager who's watching from the sidelines, because there's a barrier there. The manager has got to be hands-on with these players, and that's what I like about Ten Hag. There's no opportunity for these players to be like, well, we're being coached by him and then he picks the team. Like, they are going to be told off by the man who picks the team, and I think I'm all for that. Apparently, the initial fee for Frankie de Jong will be paid in instalments as well, so more budget then, says Bangs. No, I heard that. I don't necessarily agree with that. I don't necessarily agree with that. I don't think that because we're going to pay for Frankie de Jong in instalments, that means that we've got more of the budget. Effectively, the way the Glazers work is that I wouldn't be surprised if they added in the add-ons as being on the budget. They'd probably go the other way. Well, we've got to spend it, so let's put it in the budget anyway. So, yeah, look, I think we've got about £100 million left to spend. How we spend it is going to be very interesting. I'm dreading to find out that Ten Hag will play Maguire and McFred next season. We do not need a left back. We need a couple of CDMs and a centre back, says Muzzy. And is there similarities to Van Gaal done before, says Ryan Denton. And Vince says, I have a bad feeling signing Frankie, as I don't think he's going to give 100% because he doesn't want to be here and we can't sell because of his wages, says Vince. Look, I think you'd be in the minority, Vince. I think you would be in the minority with that. But you know what? I don't necessarily have an issue with you saying it, because I think everybody should be skeptical of Man United this summer. I don't think we should just be lauding it up, saying they're amazing. Like, I still have a fear about what the budget's going to be. I still don't think it's going to be massive. I still think the Glazers are doing this summer on the cheap. I'm here to be proved wrong, and every signing must be scrutinised, because the mistakes we've made in the past is, oh, Di Maria's going to be amazing. Cavani's going to be amazing, and Memphis is going to be amazing, and Lukaku's going to be amazing, and it doesn't always work out like that. We've got to be realistic, because if we're not realistic, we're not really helping Eric Ten Hag. We can't expect miracles We've got to be realistic. Why is Timber bothered about LVG? He's leaving after the World Cup, says Duncan. Thank you very much, Duncan, for your super chat there. And Rick says, Ten Hag looks like Howe from Newcastle with his training hands-on. That's what you need. We do need it. We definitely do. We definitely do. Carbridge, says Matthias. Carbridge needs to come back. Anyway, look, Delit and Kunde would be great signings if we got one of them, says Nathan. Check Luckhurst tweet, Mark. I am blocked. Great thing about being blocked is there's always a way. Let me just get onto my other account. The 58. Let's have a look. I'm joking. Let's have a look. Samuel Luckhurst. Okay, what's he said? Frankie de Jong signs for Man United. Here's my interview profile of the man whom I thought of as my favourite footballer in February. That's no, it's just a. He doesn't half retweet a load of crap, does he, Luckhurst? Still hasn't written his article on the Glazers, though, has he? Okay. Why am I blocked by Luckhurst? Because a couple of years ago, he said something, and I said, don't act like we go together with go out for lunch at Greg's with your blue tick or something like that. And he didn't like it. He doesn't like fan content, Luckhurst. He's he's made that very, very clear. He doesn't like fan content, and he acts like he's better than everybody else. But the reality is, I'm always very respectful of his information because I know he gets it from the club. There we go. Yeah, that was a joke. My other account is Mike LUHG. Yeah, it's not really. Do you think United planted the Barca story? My other account is actually the United Stand Pro Clubs team Twitter account that we had 3 years ago. So, unless you go, don't tell him, he'll block it. Do you think United planted the Barca Maguire story to make it look like Maguire has some market value, says RE30? I think, as I said last night, it's a little bit like the story that McTominay's an integral part of Ten Hag's plans. How can he be an integral part of somebody's plans who's never trained him? And if he saw him last year, would throw him into the bloody championship. So, look, of course, Manchester United, Gary Neville was brilliant about this. Gary Neville exposed somebody who did an interview, who works at Manchester United, whose only job is to monitor popularity graphs for players and advise them on how to improve their popularity. If Man United are employing somebody to do that, then Man United have definitely got people who are putting stories out to boost the profile of unpopular players. They want all the shit players from last year that disrespected the club and lost trust with the fans. They want them with Ten Hag and all the positivity. So to do that, they've got to find ways to do that, whether it's charity work, whether it's paper stories, whether it's, all sorts of reasons. Because for Man United, it's better if everybody's loved because they've got more people with more followers to hit more people. Basically, if I'm employing somebody and I've got 5 employees who've got 1 million followers, but one of the employees isn't liked, I'm only hitting 4 million people positively. Whereas if that 5th person that everybody doesn't like is suddenly liked again, I'm hitting 5 million people popularly. So it's Manchester United's, it's in Man United's interest if all of their players are liked. But the problem with that is that they spend so much time arse-licking these players, they empower these players, when actually they shouldn't be treated like marketing tools. They should be treated like footballers, because you end up in that situation with someone like Marcus Rashford, for example, who never in a million years should be being sat down to be spoken to for a new contract when the last 18 months he's been dreadful. But we'll be sitting down to do a contract with him because he's a massive brand and we are a massive brand. And basically, it's not massively important what you're doing on the pitch. We need Marcus Rashford, the brand. What we need is Marcus Rashford, the footballer. And if you treat him like a footballer and give him a kick up the arse, you might get the footballer back. But United treat everything like it's a brand. I know you don't want to focus on second chances, but I'm interested in seeing on how many players who showed potential when they came here but were not coached properly under a proper coach, as Marcus. I think people who can get better at Manchester United with proper coaching, definitely Rashford, definitely Bruno, definitely Maguire, definitely Luke Shaw, definitely Fred, maybe McTominay. Definitely Delo. But it's how much they get better. You're not going to turn Fred from Fred into, I don't know, Kante or Declan Rice or something like that. That's not going to happen because he's not naturally that good. But you can be better. Every player can be better, but I don't think we're talking about 100% better. We're probably talking 20%. Some of them maybe 50%, but the vast majority will get better. But they're not going to go from, you know, Marcus Albrighton to Maradona. That's just not going to happen. Like, there will be improvement, though. Have you seen Reece Crompton in the under-17s? He looks like a real player. Could be like Ronaldo, says Lucas. There's plenty of young players at United that could be the next anything. And I think with a coach like Eric10g, the opportunities will be there. And, Reece Crompton is amazing. Definitely think United should sign him, says Loz. Okay. Well, look, we could talk and talk and talk. Thanks, everybody, for watching. Fantastic show. Really enjoying them. And smash a like on the video. Make sure you subscribe. I suspect we will be back live again at some point very soon for a done deal for Manchester United. And, yeah, let's see what happens next. I agree. I think the kit's going to happen tomorrow. I think before tomorrow we'll have a done deal. Maybe tomorrow with the kit we'll have a done deal. But we won't. I don't think we'll have anybody holding up a shirt. Although we might have them holding up a shirt on holiday, but we won't have the official release until next week. But keep an eye on the Ajax Martinez deal because I know Arsenal are pushing very, very hard on that one. Thanks, everyone, for watching. Take care. Smash a like. Thanks to all the new members. Thanks for everyone in the chat. Make sure you subscribe, bottom right-hand corner, because our next video should be 2 o'clock, but I think it will be way before that. I think it might even be a done deal. Speak to you in a bit. Take care, everyone. Stay safe.